Hello, hello, Diana here. My night in jail made a believer out of me. So stay tuned to hear all about it. From really bad hardships, like a crashing pig, come really good success stories, like a pig that can fly. So I'm going to tell you about my crash, and then I'm going to tell you about what I learned that allows me to fly now because of my crash. Because you cannot fly without having crashed. You just can't. It's just not how life works. So I'm going to share a little story with you. I was in an abusive marriage, and I didn't talk about it or say anything to anybody about it because I didn't have a baseball bat taken to my head. I was not hospitalized. I didn't have broken bones. So I always thought, no, I'm a strong girl. I am not a victim of domestic violence. I hate the word victim. It couldn't be. That's just not what it is for me. Well. One evening, I was strangled on my stairs. Strangled to the point by an ex-husband, strangled to the point that my body went limp. And they're not telling you the whole truth when they say that your life flashes before your eyes. My life didn't flash before my eyes. Two things came to mind. The first was, I cannot believe I'm dying. This is it. I'm dying on my stairs. That was the first thing, because I struggled, and I always think I'm a strong woman. I can ride horses, I can buck bales, I can everything. But when somebody has got you by the neck and has pinned you to the stairs, I couldn't move. And I struggled, and I did everything I could. I couldn't get out from under getting strangled. And I thought, this is it, on my stairs? And my second thought was, I will never see my daughter again. So my whole life didn't run between my eyes, just those two thoughts. And my body went completely limp. So I fought as hard as I could, and then it was just over. And then he loosened up on my throat a little bit, and I went, and took a breath. And as soon as I did, he shoved me back to the stairs, and my head hit the stair, and oh my gosh, it was excruciating. And he was screaming and yelling, and I can't even remember or hear anything. It was just screaming and yelling and strangling me, and I was thrashing, and it was ugly. And as soon as I got up from the stairs, I called 911. Well, I have learned that in the state of Washington, when 911 is called, someone's going to go to jail. Well, it obviously couldn't be me because I was just strangled. I mean, I've got red marks on my neck and everything. So cops come out, and I'm outside, and they're asking me questions. And in hindsight, they were trying to coach me into saying that they kept asking if he threatened to kill me. And I kept saying, I don't know what he was saying. He was strangling me. My body went limp. That's all I know. I don't remember what he was saying. He was screaming and strangling me, and my body went limp. And I said that repeatedly. And then an officer walked outside and told me that I was under arrest, read me my rights, handcuffed me, and stuck me into the back of a cop car. And I was taken to jail. I was booked. I was bawling. I was hysterical. And I kept saying to the woman that was booking me, I said, the one time I was scared enough to call for help and I get arrested. She says, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I hear that all the time. Well, so come to find out, when I was out on the porch saying, I don't know what he was screaming at me, because I am as honest as the day is long. I just didn't know what he was yelling. He was in the house and said that he had to hold me down because I threatened to kill him. And come to find out, someone has to be arrested, and they were trying to coach me so that they could arrest him because he had felonies from abusing his previous wife. And he'd spent time in jail for it. So he knew exactly what to say, and I had no idea. And it never occurred to me that I could be arrested for getting strangled, but I was. And I get stuck in a jail cell with a woman that is profusely vomiting. And my knee hurts. I'm stuck in the top bunk and my knee hurts so freaking bad because when I was slammed to the stairs, his knee pinned me down by my knee. So my knee was swollen. I'm limping. I have a headache so bad that literally it felt like I was dying. It was worse than any migraine I'd ever had because when I caught my breath, he used my body to push himself off the stair and stand back up is how my head hit the stair. So I have to hobble my ass up onto the top bunk in a jail cell with a woman profusely vomiting. And I laid there, and I kid you not, it is the first time that I ever remember God introducing himself. I laid there and said, okay, I get it. If you please let me out of here, I will turn myself around. I'll fix this. I'll get out of the situation. I thank you. And I was just talking to him. I thank you so much for not letting me die. I get that you took me right to the edge. I mean, my body went limp before I could take a breath. And I just swore if he could please see to get me out of jail, that I would get out of that situation and I would quit doing that to myself. I would fix this. So that is the first time that I ever really started believing in God. Because when I was in that situation, out of instinct, he's who I turned to. Because I've always been very spiritual. I always thought that things, things for the universe, if you believe it and you think it, it comes into fruition. Well, you can damn sure bet that I had not thought of or brought into my own universe spending a night in jail with a woman that was profusely vomiting. And in the morning, they try to give us breakfast. And of course, I about fall out of the top bunk. I didn't sleep a wink, obviously. I was in there all night long. And she's puking. And Diana has the audacity to open the little thing and say, excuse me, but do you guys have some chamomile tea or something? Because she's been puking all night long. I think she's really sick. I'm not even going to tell you what the guard had to say to me, but needless to say, chamomile tea was not what she was getting. Because come to find out, she was a meth head tweaker and she was coming off of her drugs, and that's what was making her profusely vomit. And here Diana was thinking that the bitch just didn't feel good. So that is the funny part of my story. So I spent about 24 hours in jail, and that's where I met God. That's where I realized that it's the first person I talked to. So from that experience, I learned strength. And I don't know. It's a strength and a story that I haven't talked about much. Okay, so now that you have heard about my crash, I feel like that experience gave me wings because, wow, when you survive something like that, not necessarily survive, but when you come through it, you come through feeling like, bring it on, world, there ain't nothing else you can do to me. I have been strangled on my stairs till my body went limp. I have been handcuffed and hauled my ass to jail. I've been booked in jail and had to stay in there for 24 hours. I had to stay in jail before I could get my hearing and all that other stuff. And I feel like there is nothing that can scare me or shake me or that I can't get through, because I literally found God on that bunk in a jail cell. And now I feel like he says, it's about damn time you recognized me, Diana. And now I'm here to guide you through. So I don't know about you guys, but you know, my God has a foul mouth and he's just an absolute hoot. But he's still there. And so that's the biggest takeaway I can do. And another thing that I have learned from that experience is I'm not going to apologize to anybody. And I've only shared that story with maybe 4 or 5 people in my life. And it's not that I really care about other people's opinion. I wasn't not saying it for their opinion, but it doesn't usually come up in conversation. Hey, Diana, have you ever spent time in jail? Hey, Diana, have you ever been strangled practically to death? Hey, have you ever been strangled till you lost consciousness? No, I mean, that stuff just never comes up. But people wonder why things don't scare me. Well, they don't scare me because I feel like I've already been through enough shit. So that's just one thing that I want for people to know is do not be apologetic of your past, because hearing your story might inspire somebody else. Hearing your story and the way that you came through it, that might be all somebody needs to know. And sometimes, honestly, as I'm sitting here trying to think of this, I'm trying to think of some profound thing to say. Really, all I got to say, the only message I've got is don't apologize for your past. It makes you who you are. And don't not tell people, because you don't know what they're going through. So you don't know if the story you have might help them. So anybody that's hearing my story, just know you're going to get through this. You're more resilient than you could ever imagine, ever. And no matter how scared you are not going to be scared to death. You might get strangled to death. You can get shot to death. You can do all that. But you're not going to get scared to death. You just got to stand up tall. And so that's it. That's what I got out of it. I got strength. I got strength and conviction, and I've got God. And that's what I got out of being in jail overnight. Hope that helps.